Welcome, ghouls, ghosts, mere mortals, to the Hidden Creek driveway. Probably wondering why I'm sitting in my driveway and doing the video here. And that's because we're going on a road trip in this episode. We're going to Johnson City, Tennessee. There's a fellow haunter that is selling a cemetery fence because they don't need it anymore. And it just so happens that, well, we do need a cemetery fence. So, buckle up, everyone, because we're going on a road trip. So if you've watched any of our previous videos about haunt planning, then you've probably heard us talk about the fact that we want to build a cemetery fence for the Hidden Creek Cemetery. We do currently have a cemetery fence, but it's only about a foot tall, it's cheap plastic, it's actually more of a hindrance than it is helpful. The stakes that hold it into the ground are flimsy plastic, we have to hold it together with zip ties, and also, with it being as short as it is, when it's dark, it's a trip hazard. I've tripped over it a bunch of times. And also, small animals knock it over. We've got raccoons or possums, maybe cats, I don't know. But there are some type of small animals that will often knock it over to try to get through the cemetery. So, you know, we've been wanting to build a fence for a while. We want something that looks more realistic. We want something that's not going to fall over. And also something that's going to keep people out of the cemetery so they can, you know, enjoy it from a distance.
The sea, all the way to me.
What's really cool about this fence that we're going to pick up is that it's the exact same cemetery fence that we wanted to build to begin with. I watched the YouTube tutorial a couple years ago on this fence. I'll put a link in the description to that tutorial. But essentially, you know, this is the exact same fence. They built the same fence that I saw online as well. So it works out pretty well. Now, since we're not building the fence, and we're picking it up pre-built, I'll just explain to you guys the materials that are involved in building it and how to put it together.
And how it interferes with the lives we lead.
Alright guys, the package has been secured. We just loaded everything up on the trailer. I didn't film us getting the stuff from the other haunter because I didn't want to be weird and ask a stranger if they wanted to be in our YouTube video and go through all that mess, so I just didn't film it. But I'm pretty excited. I got a lot more than what I expected to get out of this. So we have the fence sections, they're all strapped down. They also gave us a couple of the columns that they built, which are pretty similar to the columns that we want to build. And just gonna make some slight modifications to their pillars. They did a great job building this stuff. They also gave us all the fence toppers that we need. They gave us a few tombstones for the cemetery, and just a few additional accessories and some supplies as well.
The way to me.
Let's head back to the manor, get all this stuff unloaded. I'll show you guys our haul, and then we'll get to work. Alright, so by the time we got back from our road trip and got everything unloaded, it was already dark, but let's take a look at what we got from this haul. So first off, there were about 30 of the different fence sections, most of them being 4 foot, a few of them 2 foot. We also got a couple of the pillars and some accessories like I mentioned earlier. Now, the fence posts are in pretty decent shape other than just normal wear and tear. There was one fence section that was missing a couple of the PVC pipes, and then I think there was one that had a broken base, but beyond that, like I said, just normal wear and tear, pretty easy stuff to fix. Now they gave us a whole box of finials, and what I think they did was kind of genius with the wooden dowels. You see, these finials are square based, and trying to put a square peg on a round hole with these round PVC pipes can be a bit tricky. I've seen people warm them up with a heat gun, but like I said, it's pretty genius. Use those dowel rods, slide them into the PVC, and you're done. Now they also gave us some dry lock, which probably not this year, but in the future I probably will use that dry lock on the 1x2s to make them a little bit more weatherproof. And then the columns, like I said before, these are in great shape. You know, they did a good job. They made it look aged. I really like how they added the skulls on there. I am going to repaint it just because there are some chips and some pieces that got damaged during the haul. So no big deal. I'm just going to put another coat of dry lock over that and then weather it myself to match the weathering on the columns that we're going to build. They also painted cracks in these, which the cracks look good. I'm just going to actually make them look a little bit more realistic by carving them out. And it's kind of smart the way they did their lights at the top. They have the light inside of what I guess was like a flower pot that they painted to match. They put a hole through the top of the column, and then that entire top can be removed as well. And then they gave us some dowel rods to put in the ground to hold the fence sections in place. And like I said, some additional accessories. Mostly tombstones. We might use them, we might not. We'll see. So since these fence sections had some just normal wear and tear, we're just going to do some updating just to spruce them up for the 2024 haunt season. So as you can see, they're a bit dirty as well, just from where they've been sitting in storage. Not a big deal. But what we're going to do is we're going to wipe these down with a washcloth just to get that loose dirt and spider webs and maybe some of where the paint has been chipped, kind of get that cleared away. And then we're just going to spray paint it black for this year. Now, like I said, next year I'll probably use some dry lock and maybe do some additional maintenance on these, but for now, just the basics. And for the paint, we're just using a matte black spray paint just to give it that metal look, like it's an iron fence as opposed to PVC and wood. And then just top it off with the finials. And that's pretty much it for what we're going to do to these this year. Like I said, we're going to put some more work into them in the future, but for now, just to get them ready for this season, looks good to me. And like I said earlier in the video, since these are pre-built, we're not going to have a chance to show you guys how they were put together. Let's do a quick tutorial. We'll show you what supplies that you would need to build these fence posts yourself, and then how to assemble them. All right, so first things first, let's go over the supplies that you'll need. For a 4-foot section of this fence, you will need 3 4-foot pieces of a 1x2. You will need 8 40-inch pieces of 1/2-inch PVC. You will need between 7 and 9 pieces that have been cut to 3/4 of an inch of a 4-inch PVC pipe. You will need 8 finials as fence toppers. And last but not least, screws and glue. So now that we've got all of our supplies, everything's cut, we've drilled all of our holes, it's time to assemble the fence. Pretty easy, actually. First thing you'll do is take one of those 1x2s that you've pre-drilled the holes and start sliding the PVC pipes through that 1x2, exposing about 3 or 4 inches of PVC pipe at the bottom. Once you have everything lined up, you can actually go ahead and put a screw through the 1x2 into the PVC pipe to hold it in place. And you could even put some glue around those holes where the PVC pipe slid through. Next, you'll slide the second piece of 1x2 down, and you might want to leave between 25 and 27 inches between those two 1x2s. Once again, you can use glue or screws to secure that 1x2 to the PVC pipes where you want it to be so it stays nice and level. Now, you're going to take those sections of 4-inch PVC that were cut to 3/4 inch and put it in between the PVC pipes. And you can glue it to the pipes and you can glue it to that piece of 1x2. Next, you'll take your third piece of 1x2 and slide it down over those pipes once again, this time resting it on top of those 4-inch PVC pieces. Screw it, glue it, do whatever you need to do to keep it in place. And then the final step is adding those finials on top of the PVC posts. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. And this is just the first of a multi-episode series where we cover the entire cemetery fence build. The next episode is going to focus more on the cemetery columns. We're going to update those existing columns and we're going to build some of our own. We're going to have another episode where we go over setting up the lights and accessories. So if you guys want to stick around, follow us on our journey, or if you're interested in setting up a cemetery fence of your own, might want to consider subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date and notified with the entire process and really any other videos that we upload here at the Hidden Creek Manor. But for now, happy haunting, and we'll see you in the next one.
Congratulations. You made it to the end of the video. As a reward for sticking around, you may now watch one of these two videos. The choice is yours, but choose wisely.